Hello, everyone. Today, let's talk about the subject agricultural marketing, particularly on the different approaches with regards to studying agricultural marketing. And I would like to start this lecture by sharing to you a story about the elephant and the six blind men. Now, basically, the story goes to say na mayroon daw anim na blind, let's say, scientists, okay, or blindfolded scientists. And basically, their task is to determine kung ano ba yung kanilang mga hinahawak-hawakan. So for example, itong scientist na to, hinawakan niya yung tusk nung elephant, sabi niya, ay naku, ito ay isang spear. Kasi nga naman, pakiramdam niya parang, kasi nga naman, matulis and hard na object. Sabi naman nung isa, nung hinawakan yung trunk ng elephant, sabi niya, ay hindi, ahas yan, ahas. Yung isa naman, nung hinawakan niya yung paa ng elephant, sabi niya, it's a tree, it's a trunk. Yung humawak ng buntot, sabi niya, it's a rope. Yung humawak ng katawan, sabi niya, it's a wall. Tapos yung humawak ng tenga, sabi niya, ay malaki itong pamaypay. Now, anyways, magkakaiba yung analysis ng mga men na to, ng mga scientists na to, but whatever it is that they are describing, it is partially true. Now, kapag i-combine nila yung mga different analysis nila based doon sa kanilang mga hinahawak-hawakan, mapagtatagpi-tagpi nila yung picture and makukumpleto nila yung picture ng elephant. Bakit ko sinabi sa inyo tong kwento na to? Well, basically, yun kasi yung idea kung bakit marami tayong approaches sa pag-aaral ng agricultural marketing. Ibig sabihin yan, iba-iba yung focus ng ating pag-aaral. And may idea or knowledge tayong makukuha sa bawat isang focus. However, kulang yon. But if we combine it with other focuses, with other approaches, then makukumpleto natin yung kabuuang picture ng agricultural marketing system. Now, we have to understand that the agricultural marketing system is a complex system. So, hindi natin siya kayang pag-aralan ng buo considering all of the factors. Minsan, kailangan lang nating mag-focus sa isang area muna and pag-aralan yun in-depth. And then as well, connect it to other areas para makumpleto natin yung buong picture. So yung mga pag-uusapan natin, ano ba yung iba't ibang approaches sa pag-aaral ng agricultural marketing system? The first one would be your commodity approach. Now guys, when you say commodity approach, with the word commodity, ang focus ng pag-aaral ay sa produkto mismo. Hindi sa marketing functions, hindi doon sa mga tao na involved sa marketing, hindi doon sa mga tasks nila, but we are focusing on the product. Ibig sabihin yan, kung ang produkto ay apple, ang tinitignan natin, ano ba yung characteristic ng apple? Ano yung kulay ng apple? Ano yung kanyang level ng tamis? Aside from that, ano yung mga elements attributed to your product? For example, ano yung demand ng produkto natin, yung demand and supply ng product? Ano yung preference ng mga consumers? Gusto ba nila ng red na apple or baka gusto naman nila ng green na apple? At the same time, tinitignan din natin dyan yung presyo ng produkto. In general, kapag sinabi mong commodity approach, we're looking at the product itself and the other factors connected to the product, such as demand and supply, consumer behavior, and the price of your product. Ito, ang focus natin, produkto. Paano naman kung ang focus natin is yung mga tao na involved sa marketing? Sino-sino yung mga players sa ating marketing channels, for example? Ang tawag naman po sa approach na yon, we call that as your institutional approach. Na your institutional approach yan yung human element approach to the study of marketing. Ang tinitignan natin, sino ba yung mga individuals, sino yung mga tao, or sino naman kaya yung mga organizations or agencies na gumagawa ng marketing activity. Okay. And sino-sino yung mga yon? Sino-sino kaya yung mga key players sa ating institutional approach in the study of agricultural marketing? Number one, of course, yung ating mga middlemen. Your middlemen basically are the men in the middle. Diba? Napakadaling intindihin. Nandun na yung word. Middle of what? Though, sila yung mga tao na nasa gitna ng producer at consumer. At ano lang ba kasi talaga ang role ng middleman? Ang role lang talaga ng middleman ay i-move yung product from the producer side going to the consumer side. Yun lang yung pinaka-role ng middleman natin. Gusto lang natin na yung produkto na galing sa farm ay mapunta ngayon sa ating mga final consumers. And meron tayong iba't ibang uri ng middleman. Meron tayong tinatawag na merchant middleman. Ito yung mga middleman na binibili talaga nila yung produkto kay farmer at ibinebenta either sa other middleman or directly now to your consumers. Now, the keyword here is that they are buying it. Ibig sabihin, kakausapin nila si farmer, sasabihin nila kay farmer, farmer, bibilhin ko yung produkto mo. And kapag binili nila yung produkto kay farmer, ibig lang sabihin nun, sila na yung in charge sa product mismo. Hindi mo na pwedeng singilin si farmer kapag nasira yung produkto. You will now take ownership of the product itself. And yung pagbili mo na yun, magkakaroon ka ng cost because of that. Now, paano ka kikita as a merchant middleman? Well, yung binili mo, kailangan mong ibenta. And ibebenta mo siya with a particular markup. So yan yung kita ng mga merchant middlemen. They add a markup to the things that they buy from the farmer and sell it now to other individuals, other middlemen, or probably directly to the consumers. Meron din naman tayong tinatawag na agent middleman. Itong mga to, they do not buy and they do not sell the product. Okay? They are merely a representative of the buyer. So, ibig sabihin, meron silang buyer at sila yung maghahanap ng farmer na willing magbenta ng kanyang produkto. Ito yung mga sinasabi natin na laway lamang ang puhunan. Kasi literal, yun ang puhunan nila, laway. They go to the farmer, sasabihin nila, farmer, meron akong buyer dyan. Ito yung kontrata, ito yung terms, siya yung makikipag-negotiate, siya yung magbabind ng kontrata, and magko-close ng transaction. Now, kung si agent middleman, hindi siya bumibili at nagbebenta ng produkto, paano kaya siya kumikita? Well, si agent middleman ay kumikita via commission. Okay? Nangungumisyon siya. So, doon sa kanyang transaction, kumukuha siya doon ng portion na kita niya. Kailangan niya yon. Kasi kung hindi dahil sa kanya, hindi magko-close yung transaction. Same concept with regards to our broker, though. Ang broker at agent middleman, they are the same as representative of the buyers. Okay, ang pinagkaiba lang nila, si agent middleman medyo flexible siya sa kanyang commission. So, ibig sabihin, pwede niyang i-negotiate yung commission niya. Pwede niyang gawing 1%, 2%, 5%, whatever that is. He is flexible. Whereas si broker, wala siyang ganong flexibility. Madalas, limited yung kanyang negotiating power and nakasunod siya doon sa gusto nung kanyang principal or nung kanyang buyer. Yun yung pagkakaiba ng agent middleman at broker. But these two are also representative as well. Okay? Who are the other players aside from our middleman sa institutional approach? Pinag-aaralan din natin syempre yung ating mga processors and manufacturers. Yung bang mga bumibili ng agricultural products tapos tinatransform nila into new forms. O for example, bumili ng strawberry, ginawang strawberry jam. Bumili ng cucumber, ginawang pickle. Bumili ng Chinese cabbage, ginawang kimchi. Yeah, these are also important players in your institutional approach. We also have facilitative organizations. Now, facilitative organizations, ito yung mga organizations or individuals, let's say, na hindi sila directly related sa marketing. Ibig sabihin, they do not do things that moves the product from the farmer going to the consumer. Pero they facilitate or they assist a smooth transaction. Nagpo-provide sila, for example, ng support services. Katulad ng ating mga nagpapautang. Yan, they are facilitative organizations, yung mga nagpapautang. Yung ating gobyerno ay isang facilitative organizations, lalo na kapag tinutulungan niya na maging efficient yung marketing process. Yung mga cooperatives natin that are involved in making sure that the products are delivered to the consumers while at the same time kumikita si farmer. These are facilitative organizations. They are not directly related to the marketing, but they support the marketing process. And we also have market associations. Now, these are influential associations or organizations. They are influential in terms of bargaining for price. Isa sa mga classic example ng market associations mo would probably your cooperatives. Now, dito sa Pilipinas, madalas ang mga farmers natin, ini-encourage natin na maging part ng cooperative. Why? Because of the power of collective bargaining. Kapag sila isang kooperatiba and makikipag-bargain sila sa price, they have more power as compared to if they are working alone. So these are the people that we are studying in our institutional approach. Now, kung ang pag-aaral sa tao is institutional approach, ano naman yung pag-aaral doon sa ginagawa ng tao? Ginagawa ng mga middleman, ginagawa ng mga processors, facilitative organizations, and market associations. Ang tawag mo naman sa approach na yon is, we call that as our functional approach. Now, sa approach na to, ang focus ng ating pag-aaral is sa kung ano ba yung kanilang ginagawa on the functions itself. For example, transportation function, right? Storage function, processing function, yung grading and standardization na ginagawa ng mga middleman natin, paano ba nila ito ginagawa? Then, it all falls down to functional approach. And lastly, yung isa sa mga pinaka-complex but pinaka-holistic na approach to studying agricultural marketing is what we call as our SCP approach. SCP via the word structure, conduct, and performance approach. So dito, it is a holistic approach to studying agricultural marketing and meron tayong tatlong variables na tinitignan. Tinitignan natin yung market structure, tinitignan natin how the market structure is related to market conduct, and how the market structure and conduct is related to market performance. So in here, we are looking and analyzing how the market is influencing the behavior of the people in the market and how does that behavior affects now the outcomes of our market. So, iisa-isahin natin yan. Ano ba kasi yung ibig sabihin natin ng market structure? Ano yung ibig sabihin natin ng market conduct? And ano yung ibig sabihin natin ng market performance? Unahin natin yung market structure. Now, when you say market structure, this simply refers to the characteristic of our agricultural market. That's the word. Tinitignan lang natin, ano ba yung feature ng ating agricultural market? Tinitignan natin, for example, yung bilang ng buyers and sellers. Anong klase ba yung mga produkto na kanilang binibenta? Madali bang pumasok o lumabas sa ganyang klaseng negosyo? These are the characteristics that we are looking at when we say market structure. And there are several types of market structure. Ano yung mga yon? Unang-una, meron tayong purely competitive market. So, purely competitive market, ano yung characteristic ng isang market structure na may purely competitive market? Unang-una, maraming buyers and sellers. That's one. Pangalawa, dahil maraming buyers and sellers, mag-backtrack tayo. Unang-una, many buyers and sellers. Pangalawa, ang kanilang mga produkto pare-parehas lamang. Ibig sabihin, it is not differentiated. walang identity, walang particular branding yung mga produkto. So basically, perfect substitute yung mga produkto nila. And dahil maraming sellers at yung kanilang produkto ay perfect substitutes with one another or hindi unique, pare-parehas, yung mga sellers natin, they are price takers. Ibig sabihin, nakadepende yung presyo ng kanilang produkto doon sa interaction ng ating supply and demand. Doon sa equilibrium point natin. So kapag sobrang dami ng supply, of course, bababa yung presyo. Kapag sakto lang, yun yung gusto natin. Kapag masyadong mababa naman yung supply, tumataas ang presyo. So they are price takers. Hindi po sila pwedeng, kumari, kung ito ang presyo natin, yung nasa gitna, hindi po sila pwedeng mag-set ng presyo na mas mataas. Why? Kasi kung isinet nila yung presyo nila ng mas mataas, wala nang bibili sa kanila. So yan yung another feature ng isang purely competitive market. And lastly, walang barriers to entry. Ibig sabihin, madali lang pumasok at lumabas sa ganyang klaseng negosyo. So that's your purely competitive market. Yung kapatid ni purely competitive market, yun na yung uunahin ko muna, ang tawag natin doon, monopolistic competition. Ang pagkakaiba ni purely competitive market at monopolistic competition is yung kanilang product type. Parehas lang sila. Maraming sellers, maraming buyers, yes. Madali lang din pumasok at lumabas sa ganyang klaseng negosyo, yes. Pero in terms of product, ang monopolistic competition, may branding, may differentiation. Heterogeneous yung produkto. Ibig sabihin, for example, yung fast food, pare-parehas na fast food yung mga yan, pero bawat fast food, may kanya-kanya silang mga product line and selling point na maaring gusto ng one group pero ayaw ng other group of customers. Kumari, kung mahilig ka sa Jollibee Chicken Joy, edi sa Jollibee ka bibili, hindi ka sa McDo bibili. Kung ang gusto mo naman is yung fries and yung fries ng McDo, di sa McDo ka bibili. Kung burger naman ang gusto mo, di maaring sa Burger King ka bumili kasi gusto mo yung legit na burger yung natitikman mo. So these are monopolistic competition. They are not price takers per se, pero depende doon sa value ng kanilang produkto, depende doon sa unique selling point ng kanilang produkto, pwede nilang ibahin yung price. For example, meron tayong mga shampoo, tama? Na branded like yung Sunsilk, Rejoice, Clear, etc. Now, nagbabago-bago yung presyo nun. Depende sa kung ano yung pinoprovide nilang unique selling point doon sa ating mga mamimili. Pero meron ding mga shampoo na special kasi may special na gamot. For example, yung mga shampoo na pantanggal ng kuto. Hindi ka naman bumibili madalas ng shampoo na pantanggal ng kuto. Pero kapag may kuto ka, bibili ka nun kahit na mas mahal. So that's monopolistic competition. Pare-parehas naman sila na shampoo pero may kanya-kanyang branding, may kanya-kanyang unique feature na hinahanap ng iba't ibang mga customer segment. Okay? Now, dako na tayo doon sa mansa, absolute monopoly. Ang absolute monopoly mo, simple lang yan. Sa isang malaking market, mayroon ka lang iisang seller at itong iisang seller na to, siya lang yung nagpo-provide ng produkto na yon. Wala nang iba. Therefore, si seller sa isang monopoly is a price maker. Siya yung tagagawa ng presyo. Okay? Now, si monopoly ba may kapangyarihan na itaas yung presyo ng pagkataas-taas? Well, yes, pero at the same time, regulated siya by our government. Hindi naman po pwede yon. Okay? That is unfair trade practice. Kaya meron tayong mga antitrust laws para maiwasan yung mga ganong abusadong gawain ng mga monopolistic company. Classic example of a monopolistic company is yung mga electric cooperative sa lugar nyo. Madalas isa lang ang nagpo-provide ng electricity sa lugar nyo and yun ay isang monopolistic market. Aside from monopoly, which is one seller, dako naman tayo sa oligopoly. At ang oligopoly mo naman, you have few sellers. Kanina sa monopoly, isang seller lang, dito few sellers. two or more, mabibilang lang sa mga kamay natin primarily. Ang significant detail na kailangan yung tandaan sa oligopoly is that kahit nakakaunti lang yung mga sellers na yan, sabihin natin, 5 lang sila, they are affecting the price of one another. Kumari, nagbago ng presyo ito, maapektuhan lahat ng presyo ng mga companies na nasa paligid niya because you have to understand, kakaunti lamang sila. And madalas, itong mga to, nag-uusap-usap rin yung mga yan, yung mga companies na part ng oligopoly. Nag-uusap-usap sila para baguhin yung kanilang price level. For example, kapag may kailangan silang, kapag may ini-aim silang particular profit margin, minsan ginagamit rin nila yung pag-uusap nila para baguhin yung production ng kanilang produkto. Kaya ang tawag mo sa mga companies na part ng oligopoly, we actually call them as cartel. Isipin nyo na lang ang oligopoly para lang yung monopoly, but it is breakdown to a few companies. Okay? And that one company would be called your cartel. And again, nare-regulate din yan ng government. Hindi po pwedeng basta-basta na lang sila magtaas ng presyo. Hindi po pwedeng gumawa sila ng mga abusadong policies. No, 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 no. Meron tayong antitrust laws para maiwasan yung ganyang abusadong gawain ng mga kartel at ng mga monopolista. Meron tayong two types of oligopoly, by the way. Kapag sinabi mong pure oligopoly, yan yung mga oligopoly na nagbebenta ng mga produkto na pare-parehas lamang. For example, yung ating oil cartel. Pare-parehas lang na langis yung binibenta nila. Okay? Pare-parehas lang na langis yung binibenta nila, so they are included as part of your pure oligopoly. Another one would be your telecommunications industry dito sa Pilipinas. Pare-parehas lang naman na communication, subscription or internet yung pinoprovide nila. So that's pure oligopoly as well. We also have differentiated oligopoly. Yan naman yung kapag nagbebenta ka ng mga heterogeneous product. May kanya-kanyang branding, may kanya-kanyang branding or may kanya-kanyang unique feature per company. For example, yung soft drinks industry natin, Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola. Parehas na soft drinks but they appeal to different markets. Another one would be your cigarette, oligopoly market. Meron kang Marlboro na part ng PMFTC and then meron kang Mighty Corporation. Okay? Both of them appeal to different market segments. Kahit parehas na naman na sigarilyo yan, may branding and may unique characteristic itong mga produkto nila. And lastly, the last type of your market structure is what we call as monopsony. Kung ang monopoly single seller, ang monopsony naman po ay single buyer. Nangyayari ba yan? Yes. O for example, si SM, kinontrata niya yung isang cooperative na mag-produce ng onion. Tapos sabi niya, yung mga na-produce nyo na onion, dapat sa akin lang ibebenta. Then, SM now becomes a monopsony kasi siya lang yung magiging buyer ng mga onion producers na yon. So that's the idea of monopsony. And yan yung 5 market structures na tinitignan natin sa ating SCP approach. So we're done with structure. Let us now talk about market conduct. Kanina, ang market structure, ang keyword natin is characteristic. Dito naman sa market conduct, ang keyword natin is behavior. Ano ba yung behavior nino? Behavior ng mga market participants. Behavior ng ating mga tao doon sa institutional approach. Like for example, ano yung behavior ng mga producers natin? Ng mga intermediaries natin? Ng mga consumers natin? Right? Kasama dyan, for example, yung ginagawang pricing strategies ng mga marketing channels natin. Yung ginagawang technological process of production ng mga producers natin. Ano ba yung way nila of producing that commodity? Right? Ano ba yung preference ng mga consumers natin? All of this relates now to the behavior of the market and relates to market conduct. And market conduct relates now to the last part of your SCP, which is market performance. The keyword for your market performance is outcomes and results. We are asking ourselves, na-achieve ba nung market yung kanyang dapat ma-achieve? Nagkaroon ba ng efficiency, for example? Tumaas ba yung profit nila? Napangalagaan ba yung welfare ng mga consumers? Nagkaroon ba ng overall economic growth? So these are the things that we are looking at. And basically, SCP approach means, base doon sa structure and behavior ng mga market participants, na-achieve ba natin yung gustong ma-achieve ng market? So it's a holistic model, it's a paradigm kung saan tinitignan natin yung tatlong factors na to, structure, conduct, and performance. So these are the different approaches to the study of agricultural marketing. We have commodity approach, institutional approach, functional approach, and lastly, market structure, conduct, performance approach. Maraming salamat sa pakikinig. If you like this video, please do subscribe and hit the notification bell para lagi kayong updated. And God bless sa inyong papalapit na exam sa mga mag-e-exam man. Thank you so much everyone.